So we have a conversation that we wanted to share with you all today. And we wanted to kick it off with a little thank you, God, for who we are, for the blessings that we have, because that's what we're talking about. We're talking about our connection and our relationship to God. So, Paula, you saw a video the other day, and it sparked many conversations that we've had around this topic.
Yeah.
And we thought, let's do a little live video about this and explore this topic live with our audience and share a bit about our feelings and our thoughts about why we don't fear God.
Yeah. Someone who I love and respect sent me a video, and it was this woman speaking about if your partner does not fear God, then he is not leading you in the right direction. And I was listening to it, and you know when something doesn't resonate with your being, and it didn't resonate with me purely because love and fear doesn't mix. As a kinesiologist, as a healer, we work through the low vibrational emotions, and fear is one of the lowest vibrations in the universe. And when you recognize that and you know that, you realize that fear is a block towards spirituality. It's a block towards connecting to the highest of love and abundance and God. So when I heard that, it just sounds like and feels like a program that was instilled in the society to control people. And it was to stunt their growth or capacity to connect with the true relationship of God. I would say it's more of a reverence and an awe and an inspiration and an honor.
Humility.
And a humility and a blessing.
Yes.
To connect with God, not out of fear. It's like, oh, I fear God, I better not, do the wrong thing. It's a respect. It's like, I respect God so much. I love God so much. I'm in so much awe with God. I want to be one with God. I want to be surrounded by God. Why would fear need to play a part in that?
And so we looked up some of the original ideas behind these scriptures and different passages in the Bible that a lot of people use as reference to why you should fear God. And we looked it up, and we looked up the original text and the original word of what that meant, and in the context too of some of those passages and what they were referring to. Because you had said, I wonder if Jesus himself, Yeshua, ever said you need to fear God, you need to be afraid.
Because it's so important to do your own research. Never go with what someone says. You always do your own research, and you always look into things, because that's empowerment. If you just follow what other people say, you're going to get blindsided.
Yeah.
And also discernment is the key. When you hear something and it doesn't sit right with you, that's when you should definitely look into things. So
that's what we did.
Mentioned.
Yeah, so that's what we did. We started looking into this, and some of the definitions shed some more light on it, so it made a little bit more sense of, like we were saying earlier, deep humility, reverence, awe, honor. This is the sort of context of the way this word was used. I can't remember the word off the top of my head now, forgive me, for fear. That was the original word.
You can definitely search it up yourself.
Yeah.
Search up the old text of fear.
Yeah, and the passages in the Bible that mention to fear God. And so in my own experience and my personal journey with my faith and spirituality, I understand why some people would use that word, because it's a deep reverence and humility towards the totality and magnificence and beauty and power of this all-encompassing love. I call it like a cosmic love that always has been and always will be. And I don't fear it the same way if I get scared that something is going to hit me and I'm afraid, so I put my hands up like, oh no, I don't want to get hit. Or if I'm on the edge of a cliff and I'm afraid I might fall off. Those types of fear I don't associate with my relationship to God, to the divine. But I do understand why there was like a little bit of a muddy of the waters around that word, and then how it's become, some people interpret it as, I need to be afraid of God. I need to be, God is some sort of all-powerful man in the sky that is watching me, and if I don't do the right thing, they're going to punish me, and I should be afraid. And I know not everyone that says they fear God thinks that way, but the connotation is not clear for a lot of people when they express it. Like, what are you actually referencing when you say you fear God? What does that mean to you? And I asked Adam O'Brien on one of my podcasts, Time Has Come podcast, about this. And that was his explanation.
And
He
who's
said,
Adam O'Brien?
he was one of the guests on my podcast. He runs the Bitcoin Well, and he's a Christian, and he would call himself, a God-fearing man. And so I asked him, like, what does that mean to fear God? Why do you fear God? And so that was a similar explanation that he gave, was that it was a respect for like a parent. Like you don't want to upset them. You don't want to disappoint them.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think what we wanted to communicate was why we don't fear God in that sense. Instead, and I'll speak for myself, Paula, but I want to hear you too. I love God, and I want to commune with God, and I want to have an openness and transparency and integrity with God. And I'm not doing that because I'm afraid that he's going to punish me, or God is going to, deliver some bad luck to me because if I don't do all the right things.
Yeah.
It's,
So you're loving him for the wrong reasons.
well, exactly, because, so I think it's, for some people, they may be like, no, I love God too. It's just I fear his power. And it's like, I think there's an important distinction to be made, that God is not out there trying to punish you. God is saying you have free will. You have the ability to choose. And if you choose this way, that's okay. I'm still going to love you, but there's consequences to that.
Yes.
And it's not like God gets angry. Like the idea of God getting angry to me, do you agree? Like,
I believe that.
Does God
there
get
is-
angry?
I believe that there are laws in the universe
Yes.
that God has put in place to create balance and harmony.
Yes.
And I believe that if you were to do something that is going to harm someone else, that energy is going to return back to you
Yes.
based on the law
Yes. Of the universe.
that is in place.
Yeah.
Now,
But that's not because God's angry with you.
no,
Yeah.
it's to teach that person, that soul, that lesson, that what you give is what you're going to get, whether it's positive or negative.
Yeah.
It's going to come back to you like a pendulum.
Yeah.
So this is the lesson that is there for us to learn, but it's not coming from a sense of punishment. If anything, our soul chooses our own level of, I'd say, lessons. And when we go through that phase of, we're no longer existing in this reality anymore, and we return back to God, we are then shown a viewing of our whole entire life that we've ever lived, the good, the not so good, the challenging, the amazingness, the things that we could have worked on a little bit better, some things that, maybe we
Need to work on.
need to work on, and we get the opportunity to do that again because of the unconditional love that comes from God. And I'll tell you, that unconditional love, consider it, if you were a mother or a father out there, how much you love your child. You love your child so much. It's unconditional. They can do no wrong. And if they do, yes, you may get disappointed. Yes, it may hurt you, but that love will never be changed. If that child came to you and said, "Mum, Dad, I'm so sorry, please forgive me," what do you think that mother or father would do? Hold resentment and hatred towards that child forever? No, because that love that a mother and a father has is a gift. It's a gift from God. God gives you that gift for you to be able to even recognize just the minute
Yeah.
love that God has for us. And you were explaining that sense of love, how you feel it's so much more than that. The love that a mother and a father feels, it's so much more than that.
Well, yeah, because, I feel that is a gift from God, a small taste of God's love. And it's what we can comprehend. And it's the most, I would assume, I don't have kids, so we don't have kids, that there's not an experience that we've had of that, but from what we've been told and what we've heard, that love for your child is like a small window into how magnificent God's love is for us. And I've had my own experience of in a float tank, leaving my body and rejoining this God's love. And it is so all-encompassing, so overwhelmingly beautiful.
That even the human can't even handle the capacity of that love.
Yeah, it was so much.
Yeah.
And so I keep that in a context for this, and I go, there's no smiting, there's no angry God, there's no like, you have to fear me, you have to do what I say. Otherwise, you don't get this, you don't get that. It's not that type of, God is not a man in the sky, from my experience. It is the total and fabric of existence
Everything,
itself.
everywhere. It's
All at once.
omnipresent.
Yes, exactly. And so
It's within you, around you.
that's the message that I think we both want to share is like, there's such a beautiful, all-encompassing love that is all around us all the time. And to commune with that is to be in love with that
Yeah.
and to let it move through you. And there's not a fear. There's not a, I hope I don't do something bad and I'm judged and I'm hit, or, it,
I think the reason why we're sharing this, most importantly, is because there is a level of consciousness that gets elevated when you start seeing God in this way. And raising the consciousness of humanity is something that we both feel so connected to support, because we live on this earth. We understand that the vibration of this earth creates a shift in the world that we
Yeah.
live in.
yeah, good vibes.
And this information that we're sharing with you is something that illuminates the mind, but also the heart. And like Jesus said, the heart is the key to connecting to God. Now, if you have fear in your heart, you're not connecting to God. You're connecting to something lower than that. If you are connecting to that unconditional love, even gratitude is a great place to start. Is gratitude for all of the blessings that you have. That is the first key to unlocking the heart space that is able for you to connect to God and that energy.
Yeah.
And I feel like now more than ever, it's so imperative and so important for us to remember where we come from and who works with us, who created us. And that connection,
Is the best.
yeah.
Is the best. And so to double back to where we started with this video, with that video that you saw and I saw as well, I think there is a core truth to that, where the woman was saying, if your man isn't a God-fearing man, it's probably not the best for you. And we've talked about this, is that I would rephrase it. I would say, if your man doesn't love God totally and is yearning to grow closer and to deepen their relationship to God and his own relationship to God, then where is he going to be leading you from? From a
Yeah.
place of what? Where is that going to be coming from?
Yeah.
And so for me, that's what I think about with Paula. And before we started this live, I was on a walk to go get a missing cable, and I was praying to God. And I said, God, show me what we need to say and how I need to show up and speak to me here. I'm open to be guided in what this is going to be about. And so it's that orientation in partnership, in business, in the creations that you do,
And how you treat people.
and how you treat people that is so important. But it's not because I'm afraid of being hit or
Yes.
punished. It's because I'm inspired and I know it's always better than my plan.
Yes.
It's always going to work out better that way. So it's a surrendering of my ego is trying to control things, or a fear of like, if I don't do this, I'm not going to get into heaven. And instead, I'm moving into a place of love, of inspiration, of
Union.
surrender, of union. And that's way more fun. That's way more exciting. And it's also surprising. It's adventurous. And that's what I think we both want to share with you, is that spirit of connecting to God from that place. And if that resonates with you, fantastic. If you're feeling like you never really connected with the idea of fearing God, explore that. Explore what it means for you. If you do consider yourself someone who fears God, why do you feel that way? What does that mean to you to fear God? And how does it make you feel inside versus being led by God or being inspired by God or loving God and moving closer to them because you want to commune at a deeper and deeper level
Yeah.
and have them work through you?
I wanted to touch on that subject because I felt like it was really important. And we also wanted to tune in and say hello to you guys and let you know we're having a great time here in the Whit Sundays.
Yes.
And the weather is beautiful. Thank you, God.
Yes.
Because we have been followed by rain the whole way through. But
Yeah.
finally, sunshine is clearing up, and we're so excited to just enjoy.
And
what-
finally shoot some stuff.
Yes.
We're waiting to shoot some things. It's been so rainy.
I know.
It's so rainy and cloudy, but the sun is finally out. So we're happy to be live with you guys and chatting about this. And this is kind of the theme and how we're going to structure our podcast too. These little bite-sized, hopefully very nutritious for you, very insightful for you, little podcasts. So this is
it, guys.
This is one of the ideas we have. We have some other ones, some fun, different ways of filming them. And like I've said before, we'll share more of those with you. But we just really wanted to start connecting with you guys and sharing what the Divine Timing Podcast is all about. And
yeah, it's a great way
dive
to
deeper.
expand your mind, expand your consciousness, thinking outside the square, looking at things differently.
I've never heard that before. Is that an Australian thing?
Yes, it's an Australian thing.
Thinking outside the box.
Think outside the square, think outside the box.
Okay.
And expand your consciousness, seeing things from a higher perspective, as opposed to being led by the masses, because we'll leave it for another time.
Yeah. You can go, yeah, and there's free will too. You can go down there if you need to. You can, live, but, and don't take our word for it. Like, see how it
Do your own
resonates with you.
research.
Do your own research. Like, that's what I sometimes I hear stuff from people. I'm like, I resonate with that, but not so much that. That's okay, And then I have to chew on it and be like, okay, because here's another thing that I've learned. Sometimes I need to explore, let's say, for instance, fearing God, because there's something in my past that I'm still working out. And this whole concept of being afraid of God is actually keeping me attached to a lesson that I need to learn. And so I hold on to that belief until I go, oh, that's why I was doing that. I was afraid of this. Or I have this relationship with my parents when I was a child. And I felt like the only way I could get love from them is if I was always obedient and bowed my head to them.
Yeah, and that's the beauty of the evolving soul, is that you're going to go through different stages, and it's okay. Whatever level you're at, it's fine. And you're going to hear different breadcrumbs along the journey that really create the whole piece eventually. So if that's one of the breadcrumbs that we're sharing,
fantastic.
amazing,
Yeah.
great.
Yeah, and that's something that I think we've both experienced in our lives is we've learned from many different people, and we honor and have discernment for our own path, and we do our best to navigate it honestly with integrity, and then from our hearts, like, how does this resonate? Does this feel true, or is it kind of like, there's something a little off? It's like you're sitting on your wallet. If you have a big fat wallet, you're sitting on your wallet, your spine's a little out of whack. That sometimes can happen to this concept of fearing God. It's like it started as like a awe and reverence and humility and piety. That was another part of the definition. To be dutiful, and then it's shifted to this sort of like, keep your head low and sort of like, it's like the way a servant before a king is like, I cannot look at king, I cannot look at king, I cannot look at king.
Okay. Yeah.
It's like
they are higher than us.
Yeah, it's like, and yes, God is this totality, sort of like all-encompassing love, and it's magnificent and beautiful, but I don't think God wants you to not step into the glory and beauty of who you are.
Yeah, it's like
and
there
stand up
shouldn't be
straight.
a disconnect.
Yeah.
That is a disconnect. And that is not the purpose of what God created you for. God didn't create you for there to be a disconnect from Him. There's a union and that marriage together. That's what God wants you to remember, is that you are one with God. You are not separate. You are not something that is not worth loving.
How do you, we recently explored, just a slight change in topic, we recently explored, we were walking, where were we, Palm Beach. We were walking by a church that said Christian Science.
Ah, yes.
We watched, and I'd never heard of that before.
Neither.
And so we walked by, and I was like, oh, what's that? And so we were like, hey, let's check it out. So we went in on Sunday, and we sat down for a service from the Christian Science Church of whatever.
It was just a Christian Science.
Yeah.
And it's basically a church that, it's not a church like a religion. It's not a religion or anything like that. It's more so like a school, somewhere where you learn and you kind of can worship the Creator, but also recognize the healing abilities that Jesus came and performed on earth, and recognizing that when Jesus said, and things like this, you will also be able to do.
Yeah.
Which means that Jesus came to be a teacher to awaken this within all of us, to recognize that we have the ability to heal. And this is what this church is all about. It recognizes that we have this capacity to heal And there's a lot of healings that gets done in this church, not just that one particular, but in
Yeah.
all Christian Science churches, is that the intelligence of the body and the spirit of the body is what they talk about. And I found
It was
amazing.
fascinating. Yeah, it was fascinating. And personally, I'm not a religious person. I was raised Catholic, but I'm like, hey, I'm not,
I think there's a big difference between religion and spirituality. Religion is very much so, there's so many religions, and I feel like there are so many truths in them, but they sometimes lose the spirit
Yeah.
of God because they go into the dogmas of traditions,
yeah.
but
And-
they lose that.
Yeah. And I think there's wonderful people in all religions and
Absolutely.
all walks of faith. And
Absolutely.
I am not someone who's like, oh, I can't walk into a church because I don't believe that, or I think they're trying to brainwash me. I
no
want to learn
happiness.
from other people. I want to be, well, how do you celebrate God? How do you feel about God? What does this mean to you? So that was my attitude walking in, and it was a interesting experience, and I liked some of the approaches. And the reason I brought it up was because some people, when they refer to God, some people don't like that word. They want to use, say, the universe or whatever. I'm like, I don't care what word you use.
The energy is the same.
Energy is the same. Whatever works for you, that's fine with me. And also, some people refer to God, as I'm sure I've heard you have used this as a man, like him. And I get it as a reference, as like sometimes the English language is difficult to use in a way to refer to something that is beyond the mind and language and all-encompassing. So we use things that make sense to us,
Yeah.
right?
Because I've been so, it's something that's conditioned within me. But when I recognize it and I connect with it, I recognize that there is a father and a mother energy in God. So there's the nurturer and then there's the protector. So
It's both.
yeah, there's both. And when you think about God has created someone in your image, you in his image, of course, there's female and there's male. So there is no just one, which is male. There is also a female energy that is connected to God.
Yeah, so that in that sense, I wanted to clarify, because I think that's something that we both feel, I think, is also one of those things to explore, just like fearing God is like, is God a man? And I think a lot of people have explored that. And if you believe he is, or it is, or whatever, she is, that's fine. I'm not against that. I think it's just more so I want to explore with Paula these conversations around why we believe that. Why do you think that way? Is it because you were told that? Is it because so-and-so who's an expert told you that? Or they're in some authority? Like,
And in that, there's a deepening.
yeah, so by exploring this, you deepen your relationship to God. And if you still refer to God as a man in the clouds, that's fine too.
But also sometimes people feel really challenged to deepen and think like this because it challenges the reality that they formed
Yes.
all their life. So if they don't believe, if they change their views, then they have to also recognize the shift in themselves, and that's very confronting for some people.
Yeah.
So it's easier for them to just follow what they've been taught all their life than to really explore.
100%. 100%. But it's like leaving a small town. If you've lived in a small town your whole life, it might be scary because you know where the movie theater is and the grocery store is and your families and your friends. But there's an adventure and there's a deepening of your experience and appreciation for life when you venture out into the unknown, when you take that leap of faith and you trust yourself and you actually develop that relationship with God and go like, God, I want to know the truth. I want to get to know you.
Yeah.
Not through a book. A book might help point me towards you and tell me good stories that can help me get closer to you.
Yeah.
But you don't live in the book.
And I think that's what we've been praying for, is that that's something that I know me personally, I've always had that conversation with God, is that bring me closer to the truth. That's what I want.
Yeah.
I want to become closer to you because I know that you are the truth. You are the way. You are the light. And with that truth, everything is going to be revealed. And I know that God will reveal things in ways that are for our highest good, in the way that is for our highest good. And sometimes it can be like shocking, but maybe you needed that shock to wake you up from the sleep that you were in. Sometimes it needs to be like little breadcrumbs, little discoveries, and that's fine too. Just know that however God shows up in your life, it's exactly the way you need it to be.
I love that. Anything else you want to share?
That's it, guys.
Yeah.
That's it, Dad.
I thought that was good. I thought that was exactly what we wanted to share. I get very passionate about this, as Paula knows. And the last thing I want to say is that I accept people for the journey that they're on, wherever they're at. And I think that's important because I don't want everyone to think the way I think. I want to invite people into the inspiration and the joy and the beauty that I experience, and I want to share that. And if it resonates with you, fantastic. If it helps you along in your journey, amazing. But I also recognize there can be distortions, there can be manipulations, and it's the same like when you taste a real apple and you pick it from the tree, or better yet, papaya. I love papayas, like real fresh fruit that's ripened versus
Something concentrated.
something concentrated
Well,
or
like we're in this hotel and we had an orange juice. And
Oh, yeah.
I was like, I feel like just something fresh. I feel like an orange juice. And I'm drinking the orange juice and I nearly spat it out because it was bitter, concentrated,
watered down.
watered down, so many preservatives. It wasn't the real
thing. And that's the passion that I have for God is like, do you know what you're missing? Like, this is not orange juice. Like, this is not what it is. When you pick an orange from the tree and you taste it, like, do you know how good that feels?
Yeah.
You're like, you're
It
filled
has-
with light.
It has life force
It has life
in it, and you
force.
can tell the difference
can
when
tell the
something is dead and when something has life force.
That's the same sort of passion that I have for good quality food and fresh food.
It's the same relationship with
It's
wine.
very similar. It's like, I want the real thing.
Yeah.
I want the real thing.
Yeah.
And if it's hard to climb up that tree and get it, I don't care. I don't want the preservatives. I don't want the prepackaged thing that someone's just continually telling me, oh, it's real orange juice. Don't worry, it's real orange juice. You should love it. Everyone else loves it. You should love it too.
Yeah.
No, thank you. I'll take the real thing. All right. That's it, guys. Thanks for joining us for this live stream. If you're just joining now and you're like, what just happened? We'll post the live later so you can watch the replay. All right.
See you guys.